The UC3 Nautilus was a privately built and privately owned submarine. It was built over the course of 3 years as an art project by a Peter Madsen, and it cost around $200,000 to build. Its first launch was on the 3rd of May in 2008. It was incomplete at the time. By August of 2008, it could sail by itself, and its first voyage was manned by some former crewmen of the Royal Danish Navy. In October 2008, it was submerged for the first time. As you may be able to imagine, this was big news. This was very widely covered in the press. Peter Madsen was a very popular figure as an entrepreneur. Come 2011, it was grounded and it needed repairs done to it. To get those repairs done, he turned to Indiegogo to get the money. He set a goal of $50,000 and raised $6,000. Still enough to refurbish the sub, and in April 2017 it was relaunched once more. The UC3 Nautilus. On the 10th of August, a journalist, Kim Wall, and her boyfriend, Ole Stobe, were hosting a farewell party prior to their move to Beijing on the 16th. She had, months prior, requested an interview with Peter Madsen due to his work with rockets, and luckily for her, she received a text on the day of this party from Peter Madsen inviting her to an interview. It started in his workshop, which, being close to her, she set off for immediately, but she returned half an hour later to inform her boyfriend, Stobe, that Madsen had offered to take her out on his submarine to continue the interview. She agreed to join him on this submarine for 2 hours and boarded at 7 PM. A few of her party walked out to the quay with her, waving her goodbye, and that was the last time they would see Kim Wall. Over the following hours, Stobe had been receiving regular texts from Kim. One was of the underwater windmills, and another was of her at the wheel of the sub. Everything was going well. All of her messages were filled with enthusiasm and joy and the thrill of being out and finally getting this high-profile interview. But then, all of her messages stopped. As the evening progressed longer and longer without contact, Stobe grew more and more concerned. They were meant to set off to be married in the morning. They were going to Beijing. It was not like her to not stay in contact. He waited by the pier for her, but she didn't show, so he went back to his room, tried to sleep, but he couldn't. He just was too worried. He got up, he grabbed his bike, and he rode around the island in search of her. At 1:43 AM on the 11th, he called the police to report her missing. At 2:17 AM, he informed the Navy of very much the same thing. At 10:30, the Nautilus was finally spotted near a lighthouse. At 11 AM, a man in his boat, who was helping with the search for the submarine, saw Madsen in the submarine tower. He saw Madsen go down the hatch and then re-emerge as the sub began to sink. He was seen swimming towards a nearby motorboat where he was pulled out and taken back to land. But where was Kim Wall? Later that day, the police put out a statement saying that Madsen had told them that he dropped Wall off earlier that night. The police, however, clearly did not believe him, and he was arrested on charges of involuntary manslaughter. The next day, Madsen appeared in a closed-doors court where he said he actually hadn't dropped her off, but that she had died on board the submarine in an accident. According to him, the hatch had fallen on her head and he panicked, saying he dragged her out of the submarine by a rope and buried her at sea. Quite different from his original story, but still not quite the truth. On the 21st of August, a cyclist came across a torso that had been washed ashore. 1 month later, divers found her head, her clothing, and a knife in plastic bags in the waters. They also found her legs tied to pieces of metal. Even after the autopsy revealed that she had been stabbed 15 times around the vagina, Madsen stuck to his story. Even after the autopsy found that there was no blunt trauma to the head, he stuck to his story. Even after the police found decapitation, strangling, and torture porn on his computer, Madsen stuck to his story. Later that month, he finally did change what he said, admitting to dismembering her body, but continuing to deny killing her, saying it may have been poisonous exhaust fumes from the boat. Regardless of that, the post-mortem said otherwise. On the 21st and 29th of November, Hall's arms were found in the bay. On the 16th of January 2018, Madsen was charged with murder, indecent handling of a corpse, and sexual assault. He was found guilty and convicted to a life sentence on the 25th of April 2018. He immediately sent to appeal his sentence, which is to happen in the High Court of Copenhagen in September 2018.